Hi, I'm Score. This is my co-host Jahanza. We are here to discuss the first episode of the new podcast, Player vs. Platinum. Jahanza, what is the project about?
So, this has been a long time coming. This is going to be a monthly podcast from your two favorite YouTubers. We are going to pick topics to discuss from the trophy hunting community. So, each episode is going to be structured with a beginning of a bit of the latest gaming news. And me and Squirrel are going to update on the games we're currently working on and what platinums are causing us headaches. And then we're going to go into in-depth into various topics around trophy hunting. We also want to include a Q&A session at the end of each podcast episode. So if you have any questions either for myself or Score or questions in general to do with trophy hunting, please leave them in the comments and we will answer them on the next episode.
Interesting.
So, what have we both been playing? Score, what platinums are you working on right now?
There is two, and the first one is Mortal Kombat X, which is out of my comfort zone. It's a 4 out of 10 in difficulty. It is a fighting game, which I'm not used to, but I thought I have to go out of my comfort zone and I want to challenge myself. And I have a challenge going on, a 1 to 10 out of 10 difficulty challenge. And that one is my fourth entry, right? And I've made so much progress, I didn't think that. And I have two trophies left. So one is for finding a secret fight. And for that, you have to go to a specific tower and do certain things. And then the fight disappears. And it's a timed thing. So I have to wait for that tower to appear to even have a chance of getting the trophy or attempting the trophy. And the second one is... Oh, right now I can't think of it, but it is an... Oh yeah, I have deal 1000 damage to an invasion boss. This invasion boss is impossible to kill or nearly impossible to kill, but you can damage them a little bit and I have to accumulate 1000 points. And right now, because I'm bad, I fought him twice twice or maybe three times, and I think I'm around 300 hits. So, and I'm like 10 hours in.
Does
10
it
hours.
accumulate? Does it
I hope
accumulate?
so. I hope so. I hope so,
Oh,
because otherwise I will never get the trophy. But there is a counter in the settings or something in the stats page, and it says 300 something. And I hope that I accumulate the points, because other than that, I won't be able to. Okay, these are my first platinum, or two trophies, and the other one is the ultimate grind, the Zombies Augments trophy in Black Ops 6. I think you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. What are you working on?
I mean, just a quick note. That is, for me, the grindiest trophy I've ever done. Black Ops 6, grind out 10 augments. It's, oh my God, it's painful, but
Yes.
I think we might have to save that for the grindy trophy episode.
Yeah.
I finished Warhammer 40,000 Space Marines 2 like a week or 2 weeks ago, and that was quite good. And now I am working on Assassin's Creed Shadows. So according to my save file, I'm about 60 hours in. I'm kind of in the end game. I've got about 7 trophies left, but in typical Assassin's Creed fashion, there's like, I think there's you have to max out a skill tree for one of your different abilities,
Okay.
and to get the final skill, this is so typical, you have to assassinate a group of people. So I thought I was plain sailing smooth. I went to my skill tree. I was like, let me upgrade this last skill and I'll get the trophy. And it was like, you need to defeat these people. And then on the objectives board, this next circle came up and I was like, oh my God, this is like the 1000th person I've
Oh.
assassinated. But it's good, and I'm close. It will be done very soon. Very soon.
I am an Assassin's Creed fan, but I haven't played Shadows. In terms of difficulty, how would you rate this platinum, this game?
I mean, that poses a bigger question, which is, what is a difficult platinum?
Good question.
Which I guess takes us on to today's topic, which is going to be, what is a difficult platinum? How do you
Cool.
judge it? How do you count it? For the record, Assassin's Creed Shadows is not a difficult platinum.
Yeah.
For the record,
The
so
yeah. The more modern Assassin's Creed are usually more forgiving in terms of platinums. That's why I'm gravitating towards those platinums. Yeah, I'm really excited to play Assassin's Creed Shadows.
yeah, you'll have fun. I am really enjoying it.
Hmm.
I think I'm even going to do a review on it. I really like it. So,
That's good.
all right, on to today's topic.
Hmm.
What is a difficult platinum, and
Hmm.
how do you judge a difficult platinum? So,
Hmm.
do you want to make a start?
Okay, so we discussed this, and I've thought about this topic a lot. And I'd say, first of all, difficulty is dependent on the skill and a very personal thing, because there are platinums that are easy to some and completely difficult to others. And one of the first platinums I thought were difficult was The Witness. There is one trophy where you have to beat a challenge that is timed 6 minutes in, and it has random generated puzzles. And it has very stressful music. And that was the first trophy I think I worked for, I trained for. And it took me a year. I took a break around, I think, 6 months or so, a month or so. And yeah, then I trained for like 6 months to beat the challenge. But the trophy that started my difficulty journey will be always Uncharted 3, Uncharted 1, because before that, let me tell you, I was a wimp. I played games on normal difficulty, and I even put games down to easy mode or story mode or whatever if I can, because I couldn't stand the frustration. And Uncharted 1 on the PS3 was the first game where I said, I have nothing to lose. Let's try crushing difficulty. And it was crushing. It was the worst feeling ever. It was so painful, but in the end, I got the trophy. And from that on, a door opened, and I, yeah, checked more difficult trophies out. What about you? What was your first
Well,
difficult trophy?
I think in terms of like definition, I think a
Mm,
difficult platinum is anything that makes you have to overcome
mm.
your normal expectations or your
Oh, good. Yeah.
expected standard difficulty in
Hmm.
that genre or style of game. Because
Hmm.
what I've noticed with the trophy hunting gang is I think there are some famous difficult platinums that we all know of. For
Hmm.
example, Wolfenstein 2,
Hmm.
The Evil Within. These
Hmm.
are these are games that unanimously everyone's like, that's a difficult platinum.
Hmm.
And I keep trying to tell people, especially with the trophy list reviews that I do, that it's subjective.
Hmm.
And if, for example, you're not good at racing games, then the most easiest racing game platinum was going to be super difficult. If you gave
Yeah.
me the easiest Need for Speed platinum, it's going to be super hard for me. Like I'll,
Hmm.
I'll take double the amount of hours, etc. And a good example, I think you and me is, for example, you found Resident Evil 4 Platinum slightly tricky.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
not as smooth sailing as Resident Evil 2, for example.
yeah,
Yeah.
and as for me, Resident Evil 4 it's not difficult, but then
Mm.
you coast through Elden Ring, which I mean, I wouldn't even get past the prologue. So it's I think it's subjective, and
Hmm.
for me, the first game I ever went for proactively for the platinum was my third game, which was Days Gone,
Hmm.
which they're obviously remastering now. And I think I did have to turn that down to easy because, again, at that point, I was just playing games for fun, and there was these hordes of zombies chasing me. I
Hmm.
don't think I could control the motorbike well. I was still getting used to the guns, and I had to turn it down to easy. And then on the journey, it's funny that you brought up Uncharted because after Days Gone, I kind of kept platinuming games. Everything was pretty smooth. I picked games relatively within my comfort zone. And then Uncharted 4 came along. I'd done 1, 2, and 3, no problem.
Okay.
And Uncharted 4 was, I'd say, the first difficult platinum I had in my journey because stupidly, I chose to go. I'd done 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, you have to do crushing mode to get the platinum. With 4, I thought I've done 3 Uncharted's on crushing. So with 4, I was like, I'm going to be confident. I'm going to just play it on crushing mode.
Mm-hmm.
Bad mistake. Really big mistake because I didn't get to enjoy the game as much
Mm-hmm.
because you spent so long between cutscenes. You kind of almost forget the story because you kept
Yeah.
redoing checkpoints again and again.
Oh, yeah.
And
Definitely.
that game, I remember, had one encounter that just drove me nuts. It took me, I think, a week. I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was so hard on crushing mode. So I
Was it
think
the shipwreck?
the ship, it's called
Or
Ship Graveyard.
the graveyard? Yeah. Okay.
It's
I
called
know
Ship
exactly what you're
Graveyard.
talking
It's
about.
still in my head. I remember it off by heart even now. Like I can picture it. It's
Yeah.
awful. And I think the way I did it in the end was so stupid as well. It was really, I had to use some really dumb tactics.
Uh-huh.
So then there was that, and then my 50th platinum was Arkham Knight, which is not a hard platinum, but there is 1 or 2 hard combat trophies,
Mm-hmm.
which can catch you out. And I think the Arkham series is famous for the kind of the combat trophies, which we'll
Mm-hmm.
probably touch upon later. And then I think my next step was probably Resident Evil 7, my first Resident Evil platinum.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still getting into horror games, and that was overwhelming. In the end, when I look back on it, it's not the most difficult, but at the time, it felt it because if you
Yeah.
haven't played a Resident Evil game before,
Mm-hmm.
it can confuse you. You know,
Yeah.
opening doors, inventory management, puzzles,
Yeah.
enemies coming back to life, all kinds of weird things can go on. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's kind of really in terms of my journey where I'm at with difficult platinums. But also I think there's different types of difficulty. For example,
Yeah.
I think I've long thought this when it comes to the ratings on the guide websites.
Oh, yeah.
I now strongly think if a game is past 50 or 60 hours, I think that's worthy of adding a 1 on the out of 10 difficulty.
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
don't think it doesn't, a game being long doesn't make it difficult, but it takes commitment.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I know one that you've done is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is by all accounts not considered a difficult platinum, and it's not. But the fact that people put in 150 hours of dedication to get that, I don't know. I think that not everyone has that dedication, that stamina.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm glad you did a poll on one of your streams, and the majority of people who watched the stream agreed with us. Yeah, I think so too. A game that takes 50, 70, 100 hours and more deserves 1 point in difficulty because it's a grind. It's definitely.
It's a grind. And another one more example into famous platinum, and it's I think still an ultra rare. And this game again by most people is not considered difficult, but Red Dead Redemption 2, a big project platinum that I'm working on in the background. Whilst it's not considered difficult, I think it's rated at 5 out of 10, but for me, it's so overwhelming. When you look into everything you have to do, to me, it becomes quite stressful. To me, it's a stressful platinum. So to me, that's a difficulty. But
And you have to keep track of everything, every collectible and animal you skin, and there's a lot to keep track of, and that makes it difficult, in my opinion, to not miss something that is missable, and then you have to play the game all over again. And man,
and sometimes in an open world game, you can batch things together. So, for example, you can go to a zone and be like, right, I'm going to collect all the things for that, and I'm going to hunt this animal, and I'm going to kill that enemy and do that zone all in one. But for some reason, Red Dead 2, that doesn't work for me. So I'll have to focus on just one collectible set, and then focus
Yeah.
on few animals.
Yeah.
So I end up going around the map a million times because I can't do it in this slick way where I'm like, I'm going to collect all the animals there and I'm going to do all these things here. It's
That's
I don't know
stress.
why. It doesn't work with
I
Red Dead
feel you
2.
on this one. Yeah, I agree. I have to stick to one objective and then finish that and then focus on the next. Otherwise, it's overwhelming. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Whereas with maybe an easy game, say Assassin's Creed, you can just go to region and be like, I'm going to do everything here quickly, and
Yeah,
then
they
I'll.
show you that, right? They have a
They do
summary of
make
that.
they do
Something
they
like,
do make it easy with the
yeah,
markers on the map. So
yeah.
yeah,
So Red Dead Redemption is still ahead of me. Some of you might know, some of you don't know. I'm close to 1,000 subscribers. I'm around, I think, 909 at the moment. So as soon as I reach 1,000 subscribers, I will start my Red Dead Redemption 2 journey. If that's something you want to see me, watch me, yeah, click that subscribe button. Shameful advertisement here, but the thing is, I am used to open world. I don't find them difficult, but the thing I find or found difficult, which is Bloodborne. So after Uncharted 1, I then months later I started Bloodborne. And the funny thing is I heard about all of these games and they're super infamous in terms of difficulty and get good mentality and stuff like that. And they gave it for free on PS Plus. And I
yeah,
downloaded the game, and in my head something shifted. I remember thinking, I have nothing to lose. Let's start a game. And even if I can't complete it, I at least tried. And that was so important, so valuable for me. And I the third I spent not gonna lie, I spent 30 minutes trying to figure out how to equip a weapon. I couldn't do it. I watched a video to help me equip my weapon. Right, that's the level I was at, and I think for those who know the Bloodstaff Beast, which is the third boss enemy in the game, was such a roadblock. I was about to give up, but after a few days, my brain said, "No, let's try. Let's keep going." And for some reason, I found a way. I don't know if I did something wrong or right. I mean, or if I used items. I couldn't tell you. I can't tell you what it was, but I beat the Bloodstaff Beast, the roadblock of this game for me. And after that, it was easier because my brain had learned to accept failure. Failure, dying over and over again, was so stressful. But after that boss, I was like, okay, I don't care if I die. I keep trying, and that shifted my perspective on difficulty a lot. And as you know, you told I've played every and platinumed every From Software game that is Souls like related. I think Bloodborne. Then I went back to Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 remastered, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, and then Elden Ring. And they've become easier because I know what to expect. And you mentioned earlier, challenge or difficulty has to do with expectation and personal skill. And I wouldn't count. So they are on PSNP. I think they are around 6 or 7 or 8 out of 10 in difficulty. And I would, from my experience, I would say they are more close to 4 or 5 in difficulty, just because I'm so used to them and I know how to make them more easy. That's the thing. Many games offer you a way to make them more easy, and new pe- no sorry new players don't know about these things, and they see the things that make them difficulty. Players lost 1 million souls, or they died 50 times to this boss, and they think it's difficult. But I can tell you, if you try and put in the effort, you will find ways to make it easier. Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to say about Bloodborne. So if
okay.
you plan on doing a Souls like, don't be afraid, don't be scared. just give it a go, and you will find ways to overcome these bosses. And I'm hoping that I will witness Jahanza tackling one of these bad boys at one time.
One
Okay.
one day we will tackle a Souls Platinum. I mean, it's funny when you brought up Bloodborne. I did try Bloodborne because it's free on PS Plus, and I spent 2 hours trying to equip a weapon, and then I rage quit. I was like, this is stupid. I've never had a game make me feel as stupid as Bloodborne did in those 2 hours, but I like the style of it though, and it's good news and positive that you say, us newcomers don't know the techniques and skills and options to make these games a bit easier.
There are lots.
Because there are some. I've seen some people like speedrun the Elden Ring Platinum, and it's like, how are you doing this? And they just know what build to use, what weapons to use, what magic, etc., etc. But on the subject of the guides and difficulty ratings, so from my perspective, obviously all the guides, which are excellent online on websites like PSN Profiles, PlayStationTrophies.org, PowerPicks, True Trophies, I think these guys are guide writers, which means they're very good gamers. They get platinums for a living, basically. And these games are a bit easier for them. So whenever I am looking at a trophy guide, I always add on 1 or 2 to the score. So if the guide says a game is 5 out of 10, in my head, that's a 7 out of 10 for me. So I don't know how you feel about the way these guides judge games, because there are some that I just think are a bit shocking. Like they get some so wrong in terms of difficulty.
Yeah, I think you have to consider how experienced the guide writer is with this type of game or genre. Because I had games, for example, the Souls games, they are marked as 7 or 8 out of 10. And now I would say they are 5 or 6 in my head. But other than that, the Mortal Kombat X trophy is a 4 out of 10, and I struggled so much with it. And then I talked to Mode47, another fellow trophy hunter and YouTuber here in this community, and he loves fighting games and he plays a lot. And for him, it's probably not as difficult. But for me, a 4 out of 10 fighting game platinum is like a 6 or sometimes 7 out of 10. So it really depends on the guide writer and your own skill level. So you have to take into considering both your skill level and your experience and the guide writer's experience in my book.
Yeah, because I just off the top of my head, I just couldn't imagine any Mortal Kombat Platinum being a 4 out of 10. Like I just couldn't. What those platinums take, the skill level involved. It'd have to be a minimum 5, 6 out of 10. One that always stands out to me, and I've moaned about it in the past, is Returnal. I think Returnal is judged as a 6 out of 10 on the guides last time I checked.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
Which I've put in about 10 to 12 hours into that game. It's not a 6 out of 10 for me. Like, just no question. It is not a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
I personally think it's a very, very hard platinum.
Yeah.
I'm always impressed when I see it on a trophy list.
Yeah.
As context, it's a 6 out of 10, so it's like the same difficulty as Resident Evil 4 or Arkham Asylum, which I don't agree with at all. I'm not sure how that's a 6 out of 10.
Yeah. I don't know how I will tackle it. This game is on my list. I have it in my list, and I'm going to tackle it or play it. And I was offered help and support, and I will get to it once I finish Mortal Kombat. To me, it is also a 7 out of 10 right now. And I have put in... I remember defeating the first boss, and I was so happy. And then I died, and then I started all over again. And I was I can't handle this.
If I remember well, I think you have to defeat the second boss before you hit this kind of checkpoint type thing where you
Oh,
don't go
okay.
back to the beginning, and
Oof. Okay.
that's the thing with it. It's very well designed. It's very
Mm-hmm.
technically very well made.
Yeah.
The music, the graphics, the
Yeah.
setting, it's a fantastic game. But you know, how can you get good at a game if when you spawn, you don't know where the gun is, you don't know what gun you're gonna get, you don't
Mm-hmm.
know the layout of the level. It's crazy, you know. So yeah, I've always laughed at that one as a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at other ones that are 6 out of 10. So
Mm-hmm. Um. Yeah, and then I mean, in terms of difficulty, there are different skills. Um, because the next big milestone in terms of difficulty was The Last of Us Remastered, so the PS4 remaster. And to get the platinum, it requires you to play the game on survivor difficulty, which is
yeah,
the most difficult, except for Grounded, but that came in with the DLC. And yeah, beat it on survivor, and then the multiplayer. And I had zero experience in multiplayers. I played a few rounds, and it was so frustrating because if you play a match and you get one kill, and that is the highlight run of a week of progress, then it's very difficult. And um, mentally, it's a mental barrier. And I had in my thought, I had a toxic community, and players who teabag you after they kill you, they humiliate you,
yeah.
and I know I get it why they do that. It's yeah, it's a different kind of player, but to me it was all demoralizing. But I wanted that platinum so bad. I wanted it for my 50th platinum, my milestone, 50th milestone platinum. And I said to myself, no, I keep going. And I found ways to make it fun for me, because the thing is, you don't need kills to progress. You also can play support to heal people. I don't know what the other functions or groups were, but I played support. That means I focused on healing people. And I developed a strategy that um, I picked the best player in the game, and I followed him in cover. And whenever they were hit, I healed them secretly, and so they had even more health and they could take out more enemies. And it took a while for the players in my team to check what I was doing, but then they kind of got it, and they even looked for me to help them, and that was very rewarding. And by the end of these 180 matches, I think you have to survive. Um, I even had 5 kills in a match. So
Nice.
from one kill in like 10 matches to 2 or 3 or 5 kills each match, and that was such a shift. And yeah, gave me so much confidence. And that changed how I looked at multiplayer trophies, by the way, because that when I got the platinum, I told myself, now I'm always trying to earn the multiplayer trophies and look into it and see if it's fun. But before that, I would categorically would deny everything. I wouldn't even look at the multiplayer trophies. And The Last of Us Remastered changed that. Yeah, that's another type of difficulty, the multiplayer.
For sure. Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's a platinum I've always really wanted, and it's strange. They had the Survivor trophy on remastered, but then with the new remasters, the remasters,
Mm-hmm.
they've kind of made it a very easy, accessible
Yeah.
platinum, and it's a bit annoying. I think with the part one remaster on PS5 and the part two, I would have liked a hardest difficulty playthrough trophy. That would have been nice.
You always can earn the grounded mode trophies if you want that.
I am
Because
gonna,
I did it. I never played Survivor. I played
yeah.
the game on grounded, and I have to say that was the most brutal thing. Yet it was the most immersive experience, because yeah, resources are scarce, enemies are tense because they kill you very quickly, and it was so
There's
good.
no listen mode as well.
no listen mode, but it
Yeah.
was so great. It was so satisfying. I recommend you checking
I
out.
actually one thing I want to do, and to me, it's obviously it's not a platinum, but to me, it's on the same level. Is I think there's a silver trophy in Toulouse 2 for getting grounded mode,
Hmm.
and I do
Yeah,
want to do that. I want to do a playthrough dedicated to grounded mode, and
yes.
obviously, it's not a platinum, but to me, I'm treating it like one because that would be a great trophy to have.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to do that. Yeah, again, multiplayer as well. If it's not in your comfort zone, it's going to be super difficult. In fact, you and me had a very interesting live example. I got Black Ops 6 last, I think, October when it came out.
Hmm.
You watched me live stream it and then kind of got very encouraged to get the game.
Yeah.
And you'd always said for a few years to me that you want to get a Call of Duty Platinum on your list. And then you got Black Ops 6 and there was a difficulty curve for you, wasn't there?
In the
It
multiplayer, for sure. Yes. Um, and now I have finished all the multiplayer trophies, and I think I have experienced everything the game has to offer in terms of multiplayer. And it's so funny when I remember when I watched your stream, it was visual noise to me. Everything was so overwhelming and popping. I wouldn't even see enemies. You shot at enemies, and it was like, oh, there was an enemy. Okay. And when I played it myself at the end of my multiplayer journey, I was like, okay, I know the map. I know exactly where to go, and I. It was like I was seeing behind the code in the Matrix. People who are uninitiated see green
yeah.
letters coming down, and I can see through it right now. I can
I
read the HUD and everything, and it was so special. Thank you for that.
it
You
was
got me
funny because
into it.
I remember the beginning trying to explain it to you and like say like these are the different game modes and
Yeah.
these are the tactics people use and when you've played COD for like 10 years like me, it's so hard to explain like the most obvious things to someone who's new and then
Mhm.
seeing it from your perspective because you're like what's this text coming on screen now, what's that announcement, where's the helicopter, what's going
Yeah.
on,
How
why
do I
can they
change
see
my
us on the
weapon?
radar, how do I
Yeah.
change weapon, how do I melee,
Yeah.
what's grenade again, and it's just it was something. But yeah, that
Yeah.
was good that you overcame those multiplayer trophies.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I think multiplayer is another one that should add an automatic one on the difficulty sometimes. If it's like two,
Mhm.
three trophies, if it's like, I think Uncharted 4 has multiplayer, but it's like play a game, play 5 games, win two
Yeah.
games.
They have easy multiplayer. Yeah.
It's easy. I think I did it in like 3 hours. But,
Yeah.
when it's something like what Last of Us Remastered asks for, then I think that should add a one automatically onto the difficulty. But
Yeah. The thing is, can it be boosted? Because if you boost it, then it's maybe easier, and if you can't, or it,
maybe
yeah, that could
Maybe
be
no,
a factor.
maybe. I can't remember the format of Last of Us Online. I don't know how
It
big the
can be
teams
boosted
are.
because I know there is a running session or a session leader who's running sessions constantly all the time. So it can be boosted. I didn't. I didn't boost it. I painfully loaded up every single game and hope to be not killed immediately and get frustrated. Um, but yeah, that's another thing. If you can boost something, then it becomes easier. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is tricky. It is tricky.
How much would you say have you progressed in terms of your difficulty? So
Ooh, I mean, I don't know. This is hard. Like, whenever someone asks me what's my hardest platinums, it says a lot. That I'm always like, I always, I look at my list and I'm like, I don't
okay,
know. I don't know what would be
so it's
considered.
time you step off your comfort zone
I
a
don't
little
know. I
bit.
don't know what I'd consider. What's considered as hard platinums on my list.
But it doesn't have to be a platinum that's objectively hard, but it's hard to you. As I mentioned, I think Uncharted 1 was the hardest game I played to that day. Then it was Bloodborne. Then it was The Last of Us. then eventually, years later, it was Wolfenstein 2. So it doesn't have to be a 10 out of 10 yet. But what would be a platinum you define as difficult that you want to tackle, or that you can see, okay, I'm going for this in the future?
I think I would really like to tackle Wolfenstein 2. I would really like to tackle that one because I
Okay.
like with that one. I like how they've set it up that you have to do this one playthrough, one trophy in basically one sitting. I like that a lot.
It's definitely a challenge. Yeah.
I like the way they've set that one up. Um, I'd like eventually to maybe. I'd love to have Elden Ring, but I need to just dedicate the time and get into that. Witcher 3 is one as well. But the thing is, with a lot of these games, what I really struggle with is melee combat. I'm really not into melee combat that much in a game.
Interesting.
That really changes a game for me. If a game has a gun in it, I'm very, very proactive and up for getting it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I
this is a
never.
big thing for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
I never thought of
honestly.
this.
Yeah, this is a big thing for me. If a game has melee combat, I'm not the biggest. I'm not good at it, and I'm not the biggest fan. Um,
Let
yeah.
let me ask the viewers, what are your most difficult platinums you already have, and what are some platinums you will tackle in the future? That would be interesting for us, right? Because we are in a conversation. Let us know what you think. We are happy to answer your comments, read your comments. We will read all of them. Yeah, because that's always interesting. Exchanging thoughts with fellow trophy hunters, not just the two of us, but also the community. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few other ones on my I've got on my PS that I want to tackle eventually. Like Mortal Shell is like a Souls like.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
I don't know how difficult it's considered, but it's difficult to me. It's the whole melee thing, and it's got a cool game mechanic where you can harden, so you can take one hit and then you can hit back. It's quite cool, but I think you have to do one playthrough. Basically, in the game, you get shells that you wear, and that gives you boosts and skills. You have to do one playthrough without a shell, so you're one hit dead.
Ooh.
Yeah, the whole game, which is just
No.
not my cup of tea. Um, I also want to do, I think, Final Fantasy 16, which again I don't know if it's considered objectively hard, but I've never played a Final Fantasy game, and sometimes also it just comes down to time. I think a difficult platinum takes time and investment,
Yeah.
and you just don't always have that. And if in your week, I always say this, if in your week you have, say, 6 hours that you can game in, I don't know, do you want to spend 6 hours doing one 10-minute segment in a hard game? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
That's fair.
it's tricky. It's tricky. But, yeah.
And what would be some games? Because I'm looking at my list of the games I found difficulty or that are out of my comfort zone. And on this list is Destiny. And Destiny is a looter shooter, online multiplayer game. And the funny thing is, I have told the story before, probably, but I will share it here now. My boss a few years ago asked me to play with him Destiny, and I was like, I had no idea what the game is. I bought it, installed it, and then he was in full raid mode. He ran to the boss, and I was overwhelmed with everything. I wanted to explore a little bit, and he was like, no, we get to there, and why are you not running? And after 2 days of playing with him, I shut down. I didn't touch the game. And years later, I thought about this, and I wanted to step out of my comfort zone. And I found it boosting Discord, the Red Rain boosting server. And there was one host, Ninja, and he introduced me properly to the game. He explained everything to me. He boosted some trophies with me, and he what's the word? he organized raids for beginners, and I learned how to raid in a game, and it was such a pleasant experience that a game that is on paper is not my cup of tea became one of my favorite experience in a game, or on my journey. And then again, Sifu, a melee combat game,
Mm.
fast-paced action, very difficult. You die, you get a little bit older.
Older?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
older. And when you reach, I think 75 or 6 or so, then you actually die. So you have a little bit of leeway, but there is a trophy for not also for finishing the game without being older than 24, which is 2 deaths or so. So, and yeah, I had to pause. I had to take a break, 2 weeks, I think. And then in my head, I was like, no, let's get it. Let's log into. And that was a very satisfying experience. And I hold it dear to my heart because back then there was no easy mode. Later, the devs patched in an easy mode,
Yeah, it's easier now,
and
isn't it?
yeah, and I'm so proud that I stuck to it when it had no easy mode. Yeah, so these are not necessarily difficult trophies or games, but they are so out of my comfort zone, and they help me develop that mindset for earning difficult platinum. So, what games are this for you? Games that pulled you out of your comfort zone in a way.
I think one that I did, which definitely pulled me out of my comfort zone, was Resident Evil 1.
Oh.
That was that was like being thrown into like cold water because there's two things. There's the fixed camera angles, and then there's like the tank controls where you move with D-pad, and it was two weird things to get used to at the same time. And I remember I wanted to just play it for. I'm a huge fan, obviously, of Resident Evil, and I just wanted to play number one just so I can play it and know where it began. And on my first playthrough, I remember actually my first half an hour, I was playing, everything's going fine. I haven't saved yet. I presumed there was autosave. And then I died. And then back to the main menu, and I'm like, there's no continue. There's no load game. It's just new game and settings. And I was like, what? And then I looked online. Everyone's like, yeah, to save in this game, you have to get the ink ribbon and go to the typewriter and save. And I was like, oh, I thought like the other ones, there would be at least an autosave. But that was one where in the first playthrough, I was like, I'm definitely not platinuming this game. This is just insane, and I can't get to grips with it. But I did. It took me about 2-3 weeks of real dedication, and I finally got it. And now I want to do Zero as well, which is the same fixed camera, tank controls from the same era. I've also had situations where I've platinumed a game that for me was straightforward, and I've posted it on the channel, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, you got this platinum! It's so hard." And a good example is Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
I remember when I posted it, I was so surprised by people's reactions. There were so many people like, "I'm just too scared to do this game," and the platinum is so hard. And I was like, it's really not, but okay.
The thing is, hats off to you for doing Resident Evil 1 because I had the same. I wanted to try the first game where it all started, and I played for 30 minutes, and it was so frustrating to aim. I couldn't aim properly because
Yeah.
of the
Oh my
fixed aim,
god.
and that my nerves died that day, and I gave up. So hats off to you, and also Alien Isolation. It's still on my list. I played for like 30 minutes and then I had to stop because it was too tense. And yeah, so I just want to say, don't look down on you because you don't have difficult platinums, because that's not what it is about. It is about that you progress in your on your journey, and you challenge yourself. And yeah, I would completely consider Resident Evil a difficult platinum,
Yeah.
and Alien Isolation. So
But I think next on the journey eventually is two games I've left for too long, and I don't know. I guess they are considered difficult. I think they're 6 and 7 out of 10, and that is Arkham Asylum and Arkham City.
okay. Hmm.
These are games that I really wanted to platinum since day one, and they're two of my favorite games ever. And I've already got two other Arkham platinums, but these two are the more trickier ones.
Yeah,
And they,
right.
yeah, and Ark, it's the combat. It's the combat trophies. You have to really learn the
Hmm.
combat
Yeah.
and timing and using all
Hmm.
the moves. There's always a trophy where you use every single move and weapon that Batman
Yeah.
has in one combat without breaking
Ooh.
a combo.
Hmm. Wow.
So there's loads of trophies like that in that. But those are games that I need to just knuckle down and dedicate to.
Hmm.
Instead of, I try it half-heartedly for a week and then I go back to another game. I need to just say, this is now my game and I'm only
Yeah.
playing this. This
Yeah.
is this is where problems occur, where
Yeah. I
I could
agree.
try Batman for a few days. I'm like, back to Assassin's Creed. Oh, the next game's out. Oh, I need to get this game. Oh, back to Batman for a day, and then it needs to just treat it like, boom,
Yeah.
this is my game for the next few months.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because that was always the case for me when I got one of these difficult platinums. I dedicated time for that, only to that game, and then I eventually got it because I spent so much time with the game that I yeah, learn how the AI works, or yeah, I just spend more time with the game, and you automatically get better when you focus on one game. That's the case with Mortal Kombat as well. You get better at it, and yeah, dedication. Um, what would that be? So I have my journey. I can talk a little bit about that. So Mortal Kombat is 4. Number 5. What's number 5 actually? Is Red Dead a
Red
5 out
Dead
of 10?
2. It's Red
Yeah,
Dead
yeah,
2.
yeah, yeah. Red
Yeah,
Dead.
Red Dead
Yeah,
2 is
Red
5
Dead
out of
is
10.
5 out of 10. Then you mentioned Returnal. It's a 6
6.
out of 10. 7 out of 10 would be. Oh my god.
Was that Destiny?
No, 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 no.
No?
Destiny is a 4 out of. No, I don't know. I don't know. Um, I know 9 is Dead Space
Dead
2, and then
Space 2.
10 out of 10 is Super Meat Boy. Yeah, 8 and 7. I don't know. So plenty of games I'm looking for. One is Ghost Runner, but I think it's also 7 out of 10
That's
with
a
Returnal.
7.
7 with Returnal and Ghost Runner. So yeah,
That is another one on my list.
Ghost Runner
A
or
hundred
Returnal.
percent.
Yeah,
Ghost
yeah,
Runner. Ghost Runner,
yeah, yeah.
100%.
Same.
I really want to play that game.
Yeah.
But I want to dedicate to it. I don't want it to be one of my 3 games I'm playing this month. I want it
Hmm.
to be like the main
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. Exactly. And I'm only playing 2 games at the moment because both are grindy. Otherwise, I wouldn't do that. If they both require skill and commitment and dedication, I think I
Yeah,
wouldn't do this.
yeah, but sometimes it's handy doing 2 at the same time. I was doing Space Marines 2 and Assassin's Creed Shadows at the same time, and it
Hmm.
just helped because
Hmm.
Space Marine, there aren't that many levels, so you're doing the same thing again and again.
Mm.
And then you can switch over to a different style, different rhythm.
Hmm.
It's nice. Sometimes it is nice doing 2 at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Let me check. So another one was Metal Hellsinger, which is a rhythm game, completely out of my comfort zone,
Mm,
but it has a banger soundtrack. I'm a metalhead, for those who know. Um, and yeah, the music keep pushing me forward, and in the end, it was a unique experience, a challenging experience, definitely a memorable experience, and I think that's what it's about. Why people go for difficult platinums, for special experiences and memories. Yeah.
Yeah, because eventually, if you keep going with this hobby, like you and me, you're gonna have hundreds and hundreds of platinums. I'm at 116, I think, at this minute. You're at 201, 202,
204.
204. My apologies. So
No
you don't.
worries. I'm the slowest ever. I have earned three platinums in 4 months. Usually I would be like 6 or 8 platinums, but I cut
I'm.
all the fluff, all the easy
I'm.
platinums. I would play.
Yeah.
I'm dedicating myself to games. But that shift in mentality occurred after 200 platinums. I had to get to 200 platinums to not care about numbers, basically,
Yeah.
and that's an interesting shift. Yeah,
But when you have, excuse me, when you have hundreds and hundreds of platinums, you're probably eventually not going to remember all of them, and they're not all going to be hard. So the super difficult ones will always be the standout ones, you know?
yeah,
So you kind of want that at the end of the day. Once you've got over 100, you want to have a handful of a few that you're like, I'm really proud of these ones, like your
yeah,
showcase platinums.
yeah. It keeps the hobby interesting, spicy, and you want to progress because after a while it felt stale. I earned all these platinums, the numbers went up, and I want to make a video about it. Maybe it is out by this episode. Who knows? But I want to talk about the platinums I regret. And within these 200 platinums, there are definitely a couple of them which I regret or don't enjoy. And yeah,
It
most of them were not
happens.
difficult. Basically, all
Yeah.
of them were not difficult.
Yeah, you're never going to regret a difficult platinum. It happens. These mistakes happen. We all have them. Once you've reached a high number of platinums, you will have a few mistakes in there. But the
Yeah.
thing is, you learn from them. You learn from these mistakes. It's not always a bad thing, you know? I know
Mhm.
some people are very passionate about it. They start creating new accounts, and it's like, it's a journey. It's a
Yeah.
journey, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
It's true.
so I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah. Is there anything that we haven't discussed yet?
No, I feel like we covered the range of difficult platinums
Mm-hmm.
and what's difficult to us,
Yeah.
things we're going to work on in the future.
The different types of difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, different types. And I think always just remembering that it's subjective. And
Yeah.
just because the guide said, you know, Mortal Kombat, for example, is 4 out of 10 doesn't mean it is 4 out of 10, actually. It can be much harder for you.
Yeah.
Depends on your style of gaming and what you're normally used to.
Yeah. I just want to say it's a mental barrier, the difficulty in your head, and that can be broken by dedicating time to a game. And I also learned that there is not one way to earn a platinum, there are multiple. Um, and it is about finding the way that fits your personal style, because I have played so many difficult games, and when I got stuck, I researched the hell out of YouTube and the internet to find that one specific tactic that I could replicate. For example, there was in Shadow of the Colossus, there are hard time attacks, which means you have to defeat a boss in a certain time. I think it was 6 minutes, and I couldn't figure out how to tackle it. And I spent so much time researching and trying, and that I found the proper way out. In a way, I found how to manipulate the colors into the movement I wanted, I needed to defeat him.
Hmm.
And that only happened because I spent so much time with the game and I learned it. Yeah, it's or the other thing with Wolfenstein 2, I watched so many guides and I picked bits and pieces from these guides, from 7 or 8 different guides, and put them together in one guide to fit my personal needs. And on that journey, I even added my own strategies to it, because um, even the most easy or the easiest strategies weren't easy enough for me to replicate. And so it's just spending time with the game and get good at the game. It's basically it. It comes down to dedication. And one question I always ask myself, and maybe that resonates with you as well, or the viewers. I keep asking myself, is this worth? Do I really want this platinum? And if the answer is yes, then I keep going. And if not, then I stop playing the game.
That's
Maybe I
healthy.
come back later. And with Wolfenstein 2, or with Mortal Kombat, or with basically Bloodborne, this question was always, do I really want this platinum? Is it worth it? The answer was always yes, and in the end I earned the platinum. And yeah,
I think that's a good way of approaching it. It's a healthy approach. And yeah, a lot of the difficult ones on my list, the answer is always yes. It's always yes. So
yeah.
I think that's a nice, optimistic, healthy way of ending the discussion on difficult platinums.
Yeah.
Guys, let us know in the comments. What are your most difficult platinums? What's your journey been like? How do you feel about tackling difficult platinums? Is it something you avoid, something that you're growing into, you got a journey with, like the rest of us? What's your approach to it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you have any questions for us, let them leave them in the comments. We will tackle them in the next few episodes. And yeah, is there anything?
And episode 2 is ready for you guys to watch. So we will leave a link on the video and in the description below. So please head over there to check that out. And as we said, we're going to be launching episodes every month on this channel for you guys. So hope you enjoyed.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm Score. This is my host, Jahansap, and we see you in the next episode.
Take care, guys.